Welcome back everybody to round 6 of the Road to Glory Haas series. Down in last place we are on the vehicle performance grid. We have had some nice upgrades coming in, mainly on the chassis, but we are very much down on power still, and it's a really bad thing to say on a power circuit in Baku. It's a street circuit, but this straight is mainly where the overtaking is done. And on our first proper lap here, we are gonna put up a time. I'm running a little less aero for quali on the front wing, which gets us 324 kph on the straight, maxed out. And we put up a 144.3, which is still quite a bit slow. There's more time in it.
We've only got 2 laps of fuel left.
On the same tires we are doing a back-to-back run, and we find 6/10 so far, as we are now in sector 3, and another 2/10 up until the straight here. So far, Russell is the only car out of the 3 back. Russell is the only car. Yikes. Russell is the only driver out of the last 3 teams to score a point. And we put up a 143.5, which is P12 at the moment, and a couple of minutes later on the timing board, we are still in last place. We need to find 1.5 seconds to get into Q2, and to save time I am jumping into the last little bit of quali here, and as you can see on the delta we have found 1.6 seconds, which is actually gonna put us in P13 right now. And it's looking good so far for our very first Q2 appearance. And as Q1 is over, we are not in P13, not in P14, but we are in P15. 2/10 up on Giovinazzi, and we out-qualify our teammates and all the backmarker cars. In Q2, we try to qualify on the mediums, and I didn't want to use softs because I think that's where, if I have a chance at points, I will need fresh softs. So that Williams point from George Russell is the only thing holding us back, but into the race we go.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Norris, Sergio Perez and Ricciardo, Leclerc, Gasly, Sainz and Yuki Tsunoda, Vettel, Fernando Alonso, Esteban Ocon, Ellis, Stroll, Giovinazzi, George Russell and Kimi Raikkonen, Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
So here we go.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
This race is gonna transition from a dry race to a wet race, and we are looking to start on the mediums here and drag us all the way to where the rain settles in. I think most cars who qualified on softs is gonna have to do 2 stops before the rain, which will play into our hands. But here we go then. 5 lights have gone, and away we go. Decent amount of wheel spin, nothing to write home about. But we are gonna head into turn 1 with a little dive here on Ocon. Vettel and Tsunoda ahead. We are running in P13. Another dive bomb here as we squeeze the AlphaTauri a bit, into the Ferrari. Still no wing damage, still fairly clean. It's still Baku after all. And into turn 3, yet again, keeping it on track. The Ferrari and the AlphaTauri are tangling up quite a bit, which is giving us small rooms of opportunity here, where we can maybe dive in and snag a place. But we are, I think, right now in our strongest position at lap 1 in all the races that we have done. P12, and we only need two cars to have an issue, to be slow for us to score our first point, as we try to defend track position there from Ocon. And as you can see in the mirror, he does actually hit the wall slightly when he's side by side with Vettel in the Aston Martin. But lap 1 is coming to an end, and Sainz is dropped by Tsunoda. He might have some damage. We are catching on him with a little bit of ERS, and it actually looks like he is heading into the pits. Yeah, Sainz with front wing damage, it seems, from fighting Tsunoda, which is all we need right now. 2 laps later, on lap 3, we have caught up to Yuki here, and we are looking to overtake on the straight. We have had a nice little bit of fighting previously with the AlphaTauris, or mainly Tsunoda, not Gasly. And with ERS and then DRS, we are gonna make quick work here of this AlphaTauri, as we do overtake before, but we have to go off track to complete it. I think in real life they would actually have to give the position back there, like Bahrain, between Lewis and Max. But we overtake a couple of cars here, the soft runners, who has to pit, and they pit for another set of slick tires. And as you can see on the screen,
I know these conditions are tough, but bear with it. I don't think the track is ready for intermediates yet.
Before Jeff interrupts me again, as you can see on the screen, rain has started falling down, and the grip is vanishing, and we are trying our best to keep it on track. But a yellow sector 1 there before the finish line, that is Verstappen, who is slowing down and stopping, and he is gonna be out of the race.
They're retiring from the race.
The leaders have pulled away with a nice lead, but we find ourselves in P6 after 8 laps. Alonso ahead.
A new strategy is available on the MFD.
And now is the time
Confirmed.
to pit for intermediates. And Jeff wants us to do a 2-stop on the inters. And I'm presuming that the other cars are getting the same strategy. But the 1-stop is what we are actually trying to do. The rears are quite lit up right now. Norris looks to take track position heading into the pits, as he is on fresher tires. But crucially now, while we are in the pits, something else happens on the track that we are going to see a replay of.
The tyre situation is pretty touch and go right now. We think the slicks may still be quicker, but it's very close, and you're going to struggle to keep them in the temperature window. The inters are ready when you need them.
And this is Yuki here, fighting with Raikkonen, and it looks like Raikkonen and Yuki are heading into the pit, but he spins off onto the track and crashes on the pit straight, which brings out a safety
Okay,
car.
you only have to stop once now. 1 stop left.
While we are out of
We've been
Yeah,
informed
the
of
pit.
an incident which has resulted in lots of loose debris on the track. The safety car is being deployed. Okay, slow down, slow down. Your delta is negative, which means you are too fast. Reduce your pace.
So it's a double-edged safety car
Safety car is in
because
this
we
lap.
lose
Safety car in this
some
lap.
time to the
Let's
car
make sure
behind,
those tires are up to
but we
temperature,
keep
and
track
remember, there is
position.
no overtaking until the
And
timing line. Stay in
we have a
position
car
until
ahead
green
of us
flags.
in Alonso that we can fight with, that we have fought with before. And it's looking good here for the restart. But because of the double pit stop for the AI, there is some weird cars in weird places right now. I think my teammate is 2 cars behind me. The Williams are quite high up as well.
Green flag.
Green flag we go,
We're racing
and
again.
double dive bomb into turn 1. We overtake the Alpine and the McLaren. And right now I'm actually kind of losing it, because it's weird to be racing in these positions, especially on this career where Haas is so slow, and it's been difficult to keep up with the teams. So I'm actually gonna let the cars ahead go and only defend my position. We are P4. 13 laps have gone.
The safety car is out. We need you to reduce your pace. It looks like there's a high amount of debris on the track.
And as Ricardo was about to overtake me, I think Russell here with another car here. Who was it here? Yeah, Russell goes into the back of Vettel and loses his front wing, and that causes a safety car. Here we go again on the second restart, or the third restart of the race. 2 safety cars so far, and Hamilton, Perez and Bottas are flying away. And I go back to my original plan of defending my track position from Ricardo. And it doesn't actually look like we are gonna be able to do that. Ricardo is quite a bit faster, and I am not a very good driver in the wet. As you can see, I'm really struggling right now. I don't want to lose the car and DNF, because you don't find yourself in this position fairly often. And I go deep into this corner, and Ricardo is gonna get a run on me as I have a terrible exit. And yet again I go deep here, and Ricardo is gonna take the position. So now I'm not gonna be able to catch him, but I can defend from Alonso, or I will at least try to. I'm tiptoeing through sector 2, and a couple of laps later Norris, the second McLaren, is looking to do the same here. We go a bit deep into this corner, but he is fighting a bit with Ocon, not Alonso. And I think he hits his wing
Our gap to the car in
on
front
the
is
wall.
12.1 seconds.
Ricardo has pulled away 12 seconds, basically pushing in clean air. But Perez has come into the pits. We are 8 laps away from the race ending, and
The rain's easing off a bit, but the track is still going to be wet for a while. Inters look like the best tyre for now.
before Jeff interrupts me a second time or a third time, the strategy that Jeff presented in the first part of the race is coming to fruition now, because people are pitting twice for a fresh set of inters, and we are staying out on our first set, and that leaves us right now in P3. And if you look at the timing or the positions, you can see Schumacher there in P5. This has been such a weird race to drive. Perez is looking to overtake. We are gonna defend a bit. We want to keep track position any way we can, even though the car behind is faster. But then Schumacher goes into the pits because he has to follow the strategy.
Mick is
Even
in the
though if he
pits. Mick in
didn't,
the
we
pits.
could have scored double points today. Hamilton is behind us. We have Perez behind us, Ricciardo behind us, all on fresh inters. And Bottas is ahead, pushing for his win. Hamilton and Ricciardo have caught up to us. Perez goes ahead of us, but being in a desperate position, we brake very, very late. I think Hamilton hits us on his braking point, and we go back ahead of Perez, but not for very long. I think Perez hits us there.
You're doing well out there. Keep it up. We're looking at about 10 more minutes of rain. 10 minutes.
In that little clip there we have Hamilton and Perez with wing damage, I guess. And I ask Jeff for my vehicle condition and he doesn't respond, which just shows he's choking
Tyre
a bit.
condition is still looking good.
He doesn't say anything about my
No need
wing.
to worry about tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good.
So we keep it on track and we do our best to defend. Bottas is running away with this. 13 seconds.
Bottas ahead. The gap to the car ahead is 13.2 seconds. They're on fresh inters. The time last lap was a 2:10.0.
The win is out of reach here, but the podium is very much alive. We have some yellow flags in Sector 2. We have a huge train behind us because we are very, very slow at the front. And we have the widest F1 car in history. But Perez is pulling to the side and is slowing down. And it looks like he has blown up his engine. It's hard to see here in the replay camera. Because the spray from, well, the water and the inters is hard to distinguish from the white smoke of his engine. But he crashes a bit here, which is a bit dangerous. It's very hard to get a car out of the way on this track. But he comes to a full stop here, and Perez and both the Red Bulls are out of this race. As we have a helicopter view here of Ricciardo and Hamilton chasing me down in my slipstream, but also defending from each other. A cheeky little defense here, pushing Ricciardo, and I am gonna do a Ricciardo on Ricciardo and be later on the brakes into turn 1 and keep my position. Driving the race of my life in this alternate universe as Hamilton there hits the wall on his own, which is gonna force him into the pits, I think. And if you look over at the positions, Russell is in P3. The man who had a point
5 laps of fuel
ahead of
remaining.
us and who kept Williams 2 places ahead of us in the constructor standings is running alongside me for a podium finish in this race. Crazy circumstances. He is catching me as he is in my slipstream. Bit by bit, Hamilton goes into the pits. And here we go. We'll take a look in the mirrors. The Williams car is right behind us. Lap 25 out of 26. I see that Bottas have run away with it. There's no point. We still only defend our position. But we have some space to play with Russell here. And maybe, just maybe, get Alonso to catch up and fight with him a bit. And force him to defend versus the Alpine. And maybe lose out on the podium. It's not hugely important, but if we can minimize the points that he gets, we make it easier for ourselves down the line later on in the season to keep ahead of Williams. So even though I was slow before, I'm slower right now just to get Alonso into this fight. Vettel is out of it. He is down in P5, and too many seconds between him and Alonso right now. Now both the Alpine and the Williams is in my slipstream. We go a bit deep, we hit our wing, but now Alonso has gone ahead of Russell and the job is finished. All we need to do right now is defend from Alonso and make sure that Russell does not get ahead of him. We have saved up quite a bit of battery and we are gonna use it on the final lap to keep ahead. Bottas 44 seconds ahead, and as we are in sector 2, he is gonna cross the finish line in 3, 2, 1, and Bottas have won the race. High tire wear right now on our one stop here on the inters.
This rain should be ending shortly.
Alonso is making a final push here, but we are gonna fight it to the end. Russell still in P4, still a very decent result from him. Vettel in P5, Hamilton is out of the points, the Ferraris are out of the points. And now is the time to unleash this battery. Alonso is making a run for it. We are gonna not weave for some reason. I think I forgot to weave a bit, but we are gonna dirty defend a bit just to stay ahead. It's a P2 finish for Haas.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you pulled through. Thank you.
It's never an easy race here in Azerbaijan. There's drama around every corner, but they've come through to take a brilliant win here today. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, they clearly have a car that comes alive in the kind of conditions we were dealing with today. It's a very balanced package in the wet, and what that means is that the drivers have confidence to attack. And having that confidence gets you on the power earlier, it lets you brake later, and can put you a long way up the road.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
It's kind of unreal to see ourselves up on that podium. It's a very, very weird race. It's not on merit, but we take what we get, and it's nice.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers'
P11
table.
for Mick.
So,
Had he
Anthony
not
Davidson,
stopped
who would you
for
rank
a
as your driver of the
second
day?
set of
There's no
inters,
question in my mind,
he
it
would
has to
have
go to
been
George Russell.
ahead of
What a
Sebastian Vettel,
performance.
and we
He's
would
got
have
every
scored
right to be proud
a
of what he
lot of
accomplished out
points.
there today.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, Alpine move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
If we look at the standings right now, we are P11 still in, or now in P11, but we overtake Williams and Alfa Romeo in the constructor standings, 4 points ahead. Insane race.
Okay, we've had the new parts come through the fabrication process. We'll have them with us for the next Grand Prix.
Canada is the next one, but we have nothing more to show for this video. A P2 finish, a crazy race. If you like this series and you want it to continue, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.